Hi, I'm Tiffany Peterson, and today's session we're talking about overcoming objections. If there is one common thread and theme in sales that comes up in various trainings and questions and coaching with me is how do I overcome objections when they come up, right? Life is sales. Sales are simply relationships. And part of that relationship conversation or your relationship selling or working with your clients, existing clientele or new customers, objections and how they get handled is a critical skill set to you thriving in your sales business. So I'm excited to share with you a couple of these nuggets here today. When you get an objection in sales, right, and those objections often sound like, oh, I don't have enough time, or I don't have money, or you might get the put off, I need to think about it, or could you send me some information in the mail, right? We've all been on the other side of that. We've also been on the side of doing those behaviors ourselves when we're trying to put off the sales pressure or conversation. But usually a couple of things are at play. If you're getting an objection in the sales process, that customer or client either has lack of information or they're not connecting the dots to seeing the value, right? They also, though, most often the bigger issue is a fear of commitment or fear of change. You have a commitment issue on your hands, not usually an information problem. So why it's critical that you watch this video in its entirety and really get this is because most often 98% of you will try to throw more information or value adding to your prospect or customer versus really going to the heart of the matter, which again is a commitment or a change issue at place. So rather than speaking to your customer, the basic skill set that you need to master and develop is to stay anchored and asking more questions and seeking more information from them. So there's two key things at play when you run into an objection. Number one, the first thing is your mindset, right? Your mindset, which in essence is what do you say to yourself when you get an objection? Currently, right now, just take an inventory to that. How do you respond when someone says, oh, I'm not interested, or I'm too busy, or I can't afford it? Most often, most of you will retreat, right? You don't want to offend them. You don't want to be pushy. You don't want to be salesy. Great, don't be. But you are a solutions provider. And a solutions provider or a physician of change, you're all change agents. No matter what you sell, you're all in the people business. You all sell change. Is to stay anchored in questions and seeking to support and help that individual rather than just retreating or trying to talk them out of their objection or trying to put more information in front of them. So go to questions. But what matters first and foremost is what do you say to yourself, right? What does your own mindset say to you? I invite you a couple of things. One is to stay neutral. See, some of you want to take your objections really personal, like, oh, I did it wrong, I'm being pushy, I wasn't more charismatic, or if I just had more information, if I did something wrong, or again, the other mindset thing is, ooh, I don't want to be pushy and salesy, so I'm going to retreat, right? Rather than staying present to what's right in front of you. So staying neutral, not taking it personal. If someone says yes, great. If someone says no, great. All it is more information for you and feedback. For me, when I get an objection or a no, and this has come up for me many times in my business career too, is I'll get the no, I'll get the resistance, I'll get the I need to think about it or maybe later, right? So don't take that personal, stay neutral. Just tell yourself, oh, they might need some more information, they might need more support, but to tell your own brain it's completely normal. Because again, whatever you're asking them to do, you're just asking them to make some change. And every human on the planet at some level resists change, even when it's positive change. So if they're having an objection come up, stay neutral about it. Don't take it personal. Just know it's feedback that you need a little more information from them. Not more information to give to them, more information you need to draw out from them. So that's where the second piece comes in, and we're looking at your skill set, right, when it comes to overcoming objections. Your skill set, which means I want to stay anchored and asking great questions. A couple of examples that you can use that have worked well for me is the questions like this. Tell me more about that. Or what's up for you? Or what's been getting in your way? Or can you give me some more insight to what may be holding you back or putting this off for yourself, right? When you say you need to think about it, can you tell me more about what that means for you? Like what's up for you? I just want to understand that. Now, I like to also reassure them like, hey, no pressure, I get that, but could I understand a little more about what may be up for you, your situation, your circumstances, and your relationship? There's a process I teach called the Pain Probe. It's on disc 3 of my Sales Mastery Kit. Many of you have that kit. If not, you can order it from my website. And in that content, it walks you through a series of questions that you can use at any time with any person, any age, any role or title of any conversation you get into where you may run up against some objections, right? So that's already packaged for you. But what I want you to understand, I'm just going to give you a little sampling of that so you get into this, is asking those questions, is seeking to understand, is just staying neutral, but seeking to understand what may be up for them, right? I remember years ago, I was in the process of closing a sale. And this was a coaching sale over the phone for another popular brand back when I was still corporate employed. And it came down to them giving me their credit card for a few $1,000s over the phone. And the gentleman, it was a couple, the gentleman immediately brought up, we were right ready to close the sale, said, Tiffany, tell me about you. Now, thankfully, I'd been selling for years, and I knew that those kinds of questions were really just decoys. And I said, okay, well, can you tell me more about that? Or what do you mean by that? Right? That's a really open-ended question. Tell me more about me, right? And what he said for himself is, he immediately said, well, I know my wife doesn't like to make these kinds of decisions on the spot, so that's what that's about, right? It had nothing to do with me. Now, if I would have tried to chase that, rather than staying anchored in questions, man, I would have lost that sale. His wife spoke up for herself and said, honey, I'm fine. I want to do this. I'm ready to go. And we moved forward, closed the sale, and enrolled them. So stay anchored. When you get objections, whether they're questions at you or they ask, resistance to the time, the money, the details, is just stay anchored in questions. What does that mean for you? Tell me more about that. What's up for you? Where are you feeling afraid or feeling stuck? Maybe I can help support you. I love to ask that question. How can I best support you? Right? So if someone says, I just don't know if this is the right time. Well, tell me more about that. What would be the right time? Or what's getting in your way from feeling that it is? Help me understand that, right? I love the awareness to say, seek first to understand, to say anchored in that skill set where you're going to ask more, talk less, but specifically here when those objections come up. They're part of the sales process. Don't be afraid of them. Stay neutral. Remind your mind, this is part of the process. It's not personal, it's just experience. It's more feedback, and then increase your skill set that you also for yourself develop the ability to have questions on hand regularly that you can utilize that will help you draw them out to themselves. One quick last nugget I want to tuck in here. The only person that can solve or resolve the objection is the prospect, is the client, is the team member that you're serving, the employee, the spouse, the child, whoever in your life, relationships, right? Sales, that's life. Life is sales, sales are relationships. Develop the skill set to stay anchored in great questions where you can help them resolve their own questions, their own concerns. Just like the example I gave you, it wasn't about me. It was about an example that they had to work through for themselves, a question, that objection for them. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you'd like to stay connected and receive additional training, content, and ideas, head on over to my website, tiffanyspeaks.com. You can opt in there for free training sent to your inbox and stay connected to future events and upcoming trainings that we will be launching this year. Thanks again. I'll look forward to seeing you soon.